Match day 16 in the books. We have a new leader. Liverpool score a come-from-behind victory at Selhurst Park, taking all 3 points. Meanwhile, league leaders Arsenal fall at Villa Park, vaulting Villa all the way up to 1 point behind Arsenal for second place. How about that? Elsewhere, Chelsea and United are thrashed and embarrassed at the weekend. Man City squeak out a win against Luton, and Tottenham are back to winning ways. All that and everything else for Match Day 16. This is the Premiership Perusal Podcast.
Manchester City are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero! Back, Fuchs, and the ball in behind Damian Vardy! It's 11! It's heaven for Jamie Vardy!
You are an ostrich. Well, your head must be in the sand. Is your head in the sand? Are you flexible enough to get your head in the sand?
Now the fans are shouting every week, Louis van Gaal's army! Louis van Gaal's army!
Feet after a fabulous start, the game just got away from you there.
I have nothing to say.
Nothing to say about the game at all.
Drama from day one! This is the league we want to watch!
Podcast. Back again for the 119th time.
Back again for the 119th time we've had to watch Roy Hodgson's Crystal Palace disappoint us.
Roy Hodgson.
And you might say, well, there's Patrick Vieira mixed in there. And I say, yeah, well, before this podcast existed, there's still Roy Hodgson ball at Palace, so. Isn't that crazy? I think episode 1 we had to deal with Roy Hodgson at Palace. Episode 119, Sam. History and time, it's a circle, Sam.
It is a circle.
Nothing
Palace
changes.
were in a dark spot in those days. And they're
still
in a dark spot today.
It is funny looking back how we talked about how it was such a big summer for Palace that one year. With the Vieira and them relying on Gallagher and stuff like that. And that was their best year since they've been up for a decade. Everything other than that's been bleh. But let's get to this one, Sam.
That's right. Crystal Palace, Liverpool, first game of the week. Starts off, Liverpool, as you would expect, dominating possession. Not too surprising there. Crystal Palace, they are allergic to possession themselves. It must be.
Yeah. I mean, especially, they're just I don't know. Some, even the lineups that they're rolling with these days, that midfield. I get that you want to set up defensive. It was Lerma, Will Hughes, Chris Richards in midfield with an attack of Ayew, Schlupp, and Edouard. You didn't even start Elise. You didn't even start him, Sam.
Yeah, you have one attacking player there. You have Ayew and Schlupp, who are supportive attacking players.
Yeah, they're kind of more pressing attacking players and stuff. But yeah, I mean this is just kind of the first half was a mixed bag to say the least. Liverpool did not look all that strong, but then again, they had to break down Palace, who had just 10 guys back the whole time.
Yeah, Liverpool didn't look very good. First chance of the game kind of came to Palace. Lerma had a shot saved onto the post. Nearly goes in. Liverpool managed to
Alisson
keep it
back
out.
for this one.
Yes, very important. And then there was a penalty call. Endo giving away the ball in midfield. And Van Dijk fouls Edouard in the box. They reviewed it, called it back for a foul on it. I thought that was fair enough.
Yeah, it was all right. I mean, he wasn't playing all that well and got subbed at halftime.
Yeah.
I think it could be a world we live in where Endo just had his one moment and it was a banger against Fulham to equalize. That might just be his Premier League moment. But he's been a solid rotation guy for him in like Europe and stuff, I guess. So good
Yeah.
for him.
Yeah. Yeah, other than that, Liverpool in the first half really didn't look very good, like you were saying. Not much attacking output. Weren't even really getting it to the front three all that much anyways.
No, and this was definitely a heavily rotated side in this one. I mean, your boy who gave away a pen, Kwanzaa out
Wansa.
there, Gravenberch getting a start. It was very rotated to say the least. Obviously Van Dijk, Trent, um, Szoboszlai, and Mo Salah are the constant starters, and I mean even Darweezy has found himself to be a constant starter for a good chunk lately. Obviously, Louis D, but still, that leaves a handful of spots that were up for rotation. And Klopp, Liverpool are a busy team for whatever reason. They seem to always play first on Saturdays, so
It's true.
he's got to get some rotation in.
Yeah, that midfield of Endo, Szoboszlai, and Gravenberch. Wasn't it?
No,
As the kids say.
Klopp was not cooking.
Yes, the anti-cook. Goes into halftime, 0-0. Second half, first bit of action. Wansa, like you mentioned, fouled Mateta in the box. After review given. Interesting that this one was given, but there was a similar foul in the Aston Villa Arsenal game that was not given.
What can you say? A little VAR review. VAR giveth, VAR taketh. It's a mixed bag of no one knows.
A little bit of Premier League referee inconsistency. I've never heard of such a thing.
A little bit of VAR. A little bit of bad decisions.
A
against
little red
Arsenal.
card in my life.
Uh,
A little disallowed goal in my life. Anyways, Mateta steps up, converts a penalty. He says,
I don't care that I have not done anything the whole year. I'm here to score this penalty.
I'm here to score
And he did
pens, Mr. Roy Hodgson.
What do you think was
Next,
going through Roy Hodgson's mind when he did that? He's like, yes, this is how we drew it up.
he's probably like, yes, this is where we forfeit the game. And speaking of forfeiting the game, Jordan Ayew, second yellow card,
Yes, 74th minute. Harvey
74th
Elliott.
minute.
Rip.
Yeah,
You probably could just let Harvey Elliott go, but you say that, and he scores a winner. So
I mean, I thought it was a pretty soft
second one, yeah. Well,
second yellow.
you're an
but,
IU defender.
But any chance to see Jordan Ayew get sent off is fine in my book, so I'll allow it.
Then
Just
dropped to his knees and was like,
thank
with
the Lord.
arms wide open. He was like singing some hymnal. Yeah, I tell you what. Shortly after, little Cody Gakpo cross, a little scramble in the box.
Yeah.
Mo Salah deflected goal.
Yeah. Once I brought on Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott, making the instant impact there. Gakpo, too, substitute, coming in clutch there. And Liverpool putting on all the pressure. They get the game winner in the 91st minute. Harvey Elliott, nice run, move, shoots, and he destroys the hopes and dreams of Crystal Palace.
Yeah, well, it wasn't Sam Johnson's fault because he got subbed off because he got hurt. So, what can you do?
It's true.
What can you do?
Yeah, a little bit of hectic finish to the game. Luis
It was
Diaz
a weird game.
scored but was offside, and then there was a chance, like, very last minute from a free kick. Joachim Anderson nearly getting something on it, but Allison coming up with the clutch stop. Finishes 2-1. Liverpool take home all 3 points despite not playing at their best.
Why does Palace just refuse to play the Brazilian guy they bought for like 25 mil? Their Chelsea transfer, some
He's
like
not
young Brazilian guy.
35 years old yet.
Okay, and he doesn't put in a shift on defense.
Exactly.
I
Probably
suppose.
brings too much to the table offensively.
I think we'll be getting a Yarrow Riedewald sighting here pretty soon for Mr. Roy Hodgson.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So that wins takes Liverpool up to first place for the meantime. To the 9 o'clock games. We have Brighton and Burnley, Sam.
The one we were all licking our chops,
So
just
eager.
waiting for this one.
So eager.
You know,
Yeah, I'll just never get De Zerbi's rotation right now. It's all over the place. I have no idea what to make of any of it.
they can't
It's like
stop.
maybe your team's not playing as well just because you're constantly rotating the team. And
Yeah.
again, they have a ton of injuries, but like there's guys on the bench right now that should probably just like start every game. It's like give them a run of like 4 games in a row, see what happens.
Yeah.
It's like
For
no,
sure. You're telling me Jack Hinchelwood can't play 2 games in the span of 4 days?
he just scored a winner. He
Lad,
just scored. The only guy who gets to play all the time is Van Hecke, and I don't think he's very good.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so getting into this one, slow start for Brighton. Burnley looking the more lively side, looking a hit on the counter. First chance coming for Pascal Gross. Trafford making a nice save. And then, Brighton, as the half went on, they got a little better. Started moving the ball a bit more, a little faster. I think that's the key thing for Brighton. When the passes start slowing down, that's bad. You got to keep that ball
Yeah,
moving.
yeah, 100%. It's a lot of teams' issues with why they can't break down a low block is they just start going 2 miles per hour. It's like someone needs to move or someone needs to put the ball in the box. Someone needs to do something. This passing back and forth, not making the defense move. It's like it's not tiring them out.
Yeah,
Do
they can
something.
just stand there. A
But
couple,
Burnley take the lead. Oh,
yeah.
you had other stuff
I
you
was
wanted to.
just gonna say a couple chances for Brighton, and then, like you mentioned, Burnley taking the lead right before halftime. A rare attack for Burnley. Towards the
Originally, I
end of the
thought the
half,
shot
they
was
had it
not
open.
deflected, and I thought it was just a weird, like, looping shot. It was like a upper 90 chip, but it was deflected.
Yes, yes, indeed. Burnley going to halftime with the 1-0 lead, thinking,
Odebert.
what a wonderful day. Yes, Odebear with the goal on that one. And then chance for a second goal. Mr. J. Rodriguez, who provided the assist on the first one, by the way. Yeah, he had a chance after initial shot was saved. That shot coming from Odebear.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of funny. Verbruggen saved the shot from J. Rod while he was like laying on the ground.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Bart. Big Bart.
Big Bart. What a lad. After that, Brighton
Brighton
piled
really
on the
turned it
pressure.
on.
Yeah, looking for that
Yeah.
equalizer. Adingra had some good moments. And then finally,
Matoma had a good one, too.
yeah, Matoma, he looked good after he came on. Great ball from Pascal Gross. He's been, invaluable to Brighton.
Yeah.
Great ball from him to Adingra at the back post, heads across goal. Nicely done for the equalizer. Then after that, of course, Brighton looking for the winner, unable to. Some fantastic goalkeeping from James Trafford. Made some nice saves, one on Hinchelwood and then laid on from Matoma.
Matoma? Yeah.
Yeah, huge performance out of James Trafford.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely been Burnley's player of the year so far, and I don't think it's particularly close. He's what they have going for him.
Yeah. Really stood out to me in this game.
Yeah.
Future Nick Pope, maybe.
Perhaps. And he's a young lad, Man City prospect. So,
Yeah. So
as for Brighton,
another disappointing result for Brighton.
yeah, I mean, what else is there to say? It's just not the same team as last year, but they're holding on, playing okay at best, but we'll see. Maybe get a little healthier, but they got to stop with this crazy rotation. De Zerbi. He's losing faith in me, and people are not giving him enough shit yet. People are still like, oh yeah, he's a real good manager. They play great attacking football. You get when you're a small club, you get about an extra like 6 months before people realize like you're not what you were before.
Yeah.
Like Wolves when they had Lage, it was like people still were like, "Oh, what? Lage is fired? What?" And you look at the table, it's like, yeah, they're like 17th and they can't score. Like, yeah, they finished like 8th or 9th last year, but they suck.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with Brighton this year is like they're not the same team. The attacking football is not clicking as well, and they're definitely way more leaky than they were last year in defense.
Definitely. Definitely. All right.
Is Burnley building something before we move on? No? You think they just
Maybe
kind of...
maybe just the slightest hint. I mean, they're getting J-Rod cooking, so
Yeah. And if he
it's
can...
time.
Yeah. I still don't believe it, but we'll see.
I don't need.
What I do believe in is Man U's title hopes after this game. I believe in them. I see the vision, Sam.
They're gonna have the season.
The title charge.
Doing the top charge. Let's get into it.
Bournemouth
Yeah.
are just... There's not much to say other than Bournemouth are apparently goated now.
They must have listened to the podcast and said, "All right, it's time. It's time that we destroy these people.
Yeah, I mean,
Prove them wrong."
the main thing right now is they're kind of loading up the midfield a little more, and there's like I said last pod, they're not the levels between attack, midfield, and defense are not as wide or as spacious as it was before. You know, their
Yeah.
press actually does something now, unlike before. But it also helps when you get Big Dom Solanke cooking.
hmm
Well, let's get into it, Sam.
Yeah. Let's. Some early pressure from United, as to be expected. But you know what, Bournemouth. This was some peak Bournemouth, just efficient taking of chances, and they did that right away. 5 minutes in, first chance of the game for Bournemouth, scored by Dom Solanke, but just a nice little flick on after some good press from Bournemouth.
Bournemouth win the ball in United's third, and I mean Lewis Cook like just immediately took one kind of long touch sprinting in, and he was past virtually everyone near the byline, swings it straight across. Big Dom gets a flick onto it to the far post. It's stuff like this where it's like I obviously we know why Nana gets blamed, but like there's nothing he can do about that. United's defending is just so stationary at times. It just is not good, and we saw the Amrabat kind of went back to playing like crap compared to the Chelsea game, where he at least looked like tolerable. In this game, not so much.
Yeah, I like how you put it. It was just way too easy for Bournemouth. Little resistance from the United defense on this one. After that,
And also, I get the injury crisis, but like Luke Shaw at center back in this pretty much, with Reguilon and Dello kind of playing like as the wider defenders. Like Luke Shaw at center back. What?
yeah, good, not good. Yeah, after that, United again with some possession. They were getting it in and around the Bournemouth box, but not able to capitalize on their chances that they had. Which, to be fair, there weren't a whole lot. They just kind of lacked that final quality, that final pass, that final shot.
Yeah, a lot of times it felt like it was the final pass. It feels like that's a lot of the case with Ten Hag's system with United right now. Just relies on kind of extraordinary play out of one or two guys, just a moment of brilliance. It's not like it's the game that they played against Chelsea where they work the ball around and then they have a cross that opens up McTominay at the back post and stuff like that. It's more so it's like, oh, we'll just pop a long shot again. and see what happens. It's like, oh, you're just gonna rely on wonder goals from Garnacho and stuff. I just don't like what United are doing.
Yeah, for sure. Another warning sign for the United defense. Dom Solanke had a shot hit off the post before halftime. Goes into halftime. Second half, United continue to apply pressure, but, I really like the work rate out of Bournemouth on this one. They were giving it their all. The defense looks much better. Senesi back there, I really like.
Yeah, he's
Lewis
kind of
Cook was
fine.
working
He's
hard.
coming into his own right now. I mean, he was supposed to be a super promising guy. He's one of those guys who's super good in not super good, but he gets really good in video games and stuff like Footy Manager and FIFA. So a lot of people kind of had at least intermediate expectations for the guy, and he's really kind of coming on right now.
Yes, indeed. Bournemouth get the second on the counter. This time Tavernier puts a ball in for Billing in the box, scores. Nothing crazy about it. Just well
Yeah, I mean,
executed.
win the ball around midfield, swing it to the left side, little Tavernier cross, bada bing, bada boom, Phil Billing right there, postering Luke Shaw.
Yeah. Speaking of poster, 5 minutes later, Senesi
Senesi,
from a
baby.
corner gets the free header and seals the deal. 3-0. Just a shameful day once again for Manchester United. And Bournemouth, has to be said, what a run they're on here. They've really turned things around and they look like a completely different team.
We talked about it in the last narrative pod specifically. If you ever have to get hot, the Christmas break time is the best time to get hot because you have so many games in a row.
A lot of games.
And if you get a flow going, it's enough to keep you up. We saw it with Southampton for 2 to 3 years before they went down. They just would get hot at the best time of year. And Bournemouth right now, they've gone from 19th, 6 match days ago, to 13th. I mean, they're just moving up the table.
They're moving on up. What can you say?
Speaking of moving on up,
Oh boy.
Sam, Chris Wilder, good meal.
Chris Wilder, he's bringing them
Good
back
meal.
up. He's taking them all the way. They're going to live.
I was thinking about this, and I don't know why. I thought this was when we broke down the game. I just figured Brentford would be one of the teams. If you made me guess who Sheffield's second win was going to be against, who would be the team? Brentford would be one of the last teams, I guess, just because it feels like they can kind of grind it out against the shitty teams, no matter who's in the lineup. They just are bound to have at least a decent enough midfield and defense and stuff, but not the case here apparently.
Yeah, I think Brentford just getting to the point where they're dealing with so many injuries and guys missing. They got a real hodgepodge kind of lineup out there.
Yeah, you don't need Godo starting, and your boy Baptiste.
Gudis and Yenelt as your fullbacks, and then you got Baptiste in there.
And what is this Godos as playing defense? Isn't he a striker? Was he not a striker the last 2 years? Is that Brentford?
Yeah, he's he's not
They're
a left
get
back.
back there. They're get back there, brother.
Or right back, whatever he's playing.
Yeah, he's some fullback, some defender.
Yeah.
Yeah, this game, Sam, there wasn't much going on except for the ball was in the middle of the field. This is exactly what Sheffield try to do every single game. Just kind of keep the ball in midfield and it's heading back and forth. There really wasn't much going on actually in the game.
Yeah, it was a game. That's for sure. It was a game.
Yeah. I mean, nothing really happened until the 27th minute when Ahmed Zovic, or what's his name? Ahmed Hadzic. I don't know. The Bosnian lad pulled Pinnock down and there was no call. It was that was about it. Although I guess there was at the Onyeka challenge that went VAR too.
Yeah, somehow
after,
only got a yellow card.
Yeah, and the refs kind of like justified it in a way. They're just like, oh yeah, no, not that bad. It's like, really? It was studs. It was studs right on his ankle.
You mean the commentators?
What did I say?
You said the refs.
Yeah, well, same thing. They clearly didn't think
Same
it was
thing.
that bad either. They clearly like, who the fuck cares?
Yeah, it was weird though that they kind of rushed that
Just
one.
played it off like it's like, yep, no. They probably had another game on their phone or something. That's what I
True,
would guess.
true. They know no one's actually watching that except for two
Yeah.
people.
How you feel for Mark Flecken having to deal with McAtee? He did not expect that out of Sheffield. He heard that they were a bad team, and he was not ready for that goal.
You know, James McAtee, he was one I was saying earlier. This guy, he's all right. He's all right, and he showed it. 45 minutes, grabs the opening goal. Nice curler from the top of the box. Sheffield taking the lead. Big lead going into halftime. Second half, there's a chance for Soleimani. Came on.
Yeah.
Couldn't put it past Flecken. Didn't know who that guy was. Got a lot of
You know what? You know what that reminded me of is when Leicester bought the
there's
different spelling
Soleimani.
stuff. Yeah, Slimani from like Porto or whatever. Remember
Yeah,
that guy?
I do remember that guy.
They're just like, yeah, Jamie Vardy, we actually don't need you. We got this guy, and then he was trash, and like, okay, maybe we need you.
Pretty rough. Brentford in the second half, very poor in possession. Didn't look very
No,
threatening.
Brentford chasing the game is kind of tough because it feels like it's just going to come down to a set piece a lot of times. But I mean, they did have a comeback earlier, not that long ago against West Ham, so it can happen. But West Ham, um, you know, they play a little more open than Sheffield. Sheffield getting one goal, it's like they got to shut up shop. Except for the Tottenham game, they said let's pass the ball around and keep 3 strikers on the field.
That's true.
Paul Heckingbottom, masterclass.
Absolutely. So, anyways, this one ends 1-0 Sheffield United.
Is there something there, Sam?
No.
They're gonna get a win this week.
Who do they play this week?
We'll get to them. They played Everton this last week. Played is a loose definition for that team.
Oh, Charity FC's back on the menu, boys.
Yes. Brentford, anything to say about him right now?
They are, people are talking about like Newcastle injury crisis. I mean, the state of Brentford right now is pretty rough. They
No one
don't
ever
even
talks
have
about
like
Brentford though.
people to really bring off the bench in terms of like attacking
No.
subs.
No, I'm wondering if the Ivan Toney sale will be a blessing for them for 80 mil, and they can just reinvest it in like
3 guys.
three just like cheaper guys.
Yeah.
That might be their best bet. Let's move on.
Let us.
Yeah. To the Joe Darby, our good friend Joe. He's a big Wolves guy, has a soft spot in his heart for Nottingham Forest as well. And they played each other this week.
They absolutely did.
And there was honestly the first half was pretty decent. Second half was
Yeah, I thought
But-
it had decent energy to start the game. It was kind of back and forth. Neither team really establishing themselves.
Yeah, I actually thought Forest looked a little better early on, not by much, but a little better. I
slight
thought
edge.
Wolves. Yeah, I thought Wolves didn't really have much in attack going until their goal for the most part. They had like one other chance, but Forest was able to kind of turn Wolves over a little bit. They do get that early goal from Harry Toffolo. Nico Williams, who I'm just surprised that he didn't really work out as well at Forest as we would have thought.
Well, now
Honest.
is his redemption arc because he finally gets to play. So
Yeah, I suppose.
it's happening.
Floats one at the back post and Toffolo. I mean, the full back connection, that's amazing. What is there to say?
That's the new Forest way. Fullback to full.
Forest are gonna sack Cooper, but they're gonna keep that play style and they're gonna bring in Antonio Conte.
Yes, exactly. Conte
Uh,
ball to Nottingham.
yeah. Wolves equalize about 20 minutes after. Little Lamina to Sarabia down the right, little cut back. Plays it into Cunha, side-footed home. And the goal really reminded me, and we talked about it last week too, but it's like how simple Gaz O'Neill keeps his play style compared to like when they had Lage and Lopetegui, and it's like so much passing, and then there's like a lot of stand-up crossing and stuff like that. And it's like all it really is just kind of playing some 1-2s and cut back passes. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
it's very
simple
simple.
stuff.
It's like how Bournemouth played last year.
It works. It's effective.
Yes. Yeah, it's just simple. Less is more.
Yeah.
Trying to think if anything else happened in the first half.
There was a chance right at the end. Kouyaté had a chance, but after a mistake from
Yeah, Kilman.
Kilman, saw him making the
Yeah.
stop. Wolves a little sloppy. First goal was due to a giveaway from Totti Gomez.
Mm-hmm.
Goes into halftime 1-1. Second half, like you said, not as exciting as the first half.
Yeah, Alanga hit the post.
Yeah, possibly offside.
But he was off. Yeah, he was off. Or so they say. So they say. You never know these days.
Yeah, and then Toffolo had another chance from close range, but he put the header over the bar. Kind of back and forth. Cunha had a chance saved. Matt Turner back in action, back between the sticks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you want. The Greek man is no good. No bueno. Always rely on the American.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there wasn't much that happened in the second half. It was kind of a boring second half, to be honest. I guess Forest, if you had to pick a side, definitely looked the better side. But, when Forest are holding the majority of possession, it's never going to be a thrilling game. Majority of chances, not possession.
Mm-hmm.
I beg your pardon, but finishes 1-1 is apparently enough for Cooper to keep his job. If he loses this week, do you think that's curtains for him?
Let's see, who are they playing?
They play Tottenham tomorrow.
Tottenham? No, I don't think you could sack him for losing to Tottenham. I mean, I guess it depends on.
They do have a cuckoo owner.
The manner.
The Greek man.
Yeah.
Yeah. If
they
Ainge
get
Ball
pumped.
just 6-0s them.
Which,
Could
can't rule
happen.
it out.
Yeah. For Wolves, a little drop off as far as a result and performance. I'm sure certain Wolves fans probably went in thinking they'd win that game, given Forest record. But when a team sometime has been so bad that their backs are against the wall, it's just not possible to beat that team for whatever reason.
I think that's a frustrating thing is, Wolves going into these games, you want to see them win this game, against Sheffield United. It's like the games they should win, but, they either lose or draw. So still work to be done.
Yes. To the final Saturday game, Villa, Arsenal. Sam, it was a doozy.
Yeah, it was a game. Kind of a hectic start. Both teams, trying to figure things out. Early goal comes John McGinn, just capitalizing on Zinchenko getting pushed way too far forward, and then not being able to help.
It was such a nice break by Villa going forward on that. Bailey doing a real good job getting in the box, and then a little cutback. Good turn by McGinn, and just an absolute blast.
Yeah. After that, Arsenal was definitely the better team for the rest of the first half. The frustrating thing was that their passing was just really poor. A lot of overhit passes.
Yeah.
And then they had some chances that they didn't capitalize on that they really should have capitalized on.
Yeah, they weren't tame chances, but the way they took them, and they weren't super threatening.
Yeah. So that was frustrating. Second half, it just felt like Aston Villa did a good job of neutralizing Arsenal and then also kind of, not allow Arsenal to get into any sort of rhythm just in terms of, making substitutions at the right time and disrupting the flow. And then you have Mr. Time wasting himself, Emi Martinez, obviously putting in the hard yards on that one too. Some controversial calls. Potential penalty, I thought could have gone against Villa. I forget who it was. It might have been Konsa. I'm not sure.
That sounds right. I mean, the main thing that was like I was worried about for Villa's perspective was that they were gonna like crap all over themselves, given the fact like off that one corner when it was like Ollie Watkins touched it, didn't touch it, and it like went off Martinez and almost went in the net and stuff.
Hmm.
It just felt like they were about to like give the game away to Arsenal at times. Um, and they were relatively threatening. Like, did you feel like there's a chance they were just gonna break at any given moment and make it 2-0?
Yeah, I mean, especially once they brought on like
Diaby.
Diaby and Jacob Ramsey, it's like, okay, these are some good subs, and you're bringing on Matty Cash and Moreno too. So definitely still bringing the energy. It
Yeah.
wasn't like a park the bus
Moreno
by any
Moreno had a
means.
huge tackle. Um, I forget who. It might have even been Matty Cash who kind of fluffed it, but Moreno stepped up and had a huge play in like the 80th minute or so. It's just good play by Villa as of late. They're just such a deep team, and
Yeah,
Emery does such a good job setting them up.
yeah, for sure. They have had a very strong bench. You know, not everything that could be said for all the other teams that are dealing with their injury crises at the moment. Villa in a good spot, especially at home. They had the fans rocking as always.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, and then I guess it just comes down to that final disallowed goal. Kai Havertz, some hands in there. Matty Cash, ultimately goes in the back of the net, but was disallowed.
I
The
hate it
right
because
call,
there's. I
I
hate it
think.
because it's just there's nothing you can do. It's kind of like the Sterling against Tottenham situation where it's like he scores, but like before it happened, it took a little bobble up and hit his hand. But it's like if it doesn't hit his hand, he doesn't maintain the ball there, and
Yeah,
it's goofy. But yeah, it's the rules. If Kai Havertz would have, well, first off, was it Nketiah who actually scored it or Havertz?
I think it was
Because it
Havertz.
okay,
And then, they were saying that if Nketiah scored it, it might have been
it
different.
counted. Yeah, because you're not allowed to score the goal. Like
Right.
It hitting Havertz's hand.
Which doesn't really make any sense. Like,
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
a handball or it's not. But
Right. Right.
whatever.
Yeah. So,
Uh, so Villa get a huge win. They hold on. Defense looks strong. Arsenal still played a pretty solid game, given the fact that they've been, they've beaten United, they've beaten City. They still haven't looked all that sharp in the games against the big teams this year. Um, they've looked obviously better than their opponents and whatnot. This was the first one where I thought like this you could argue might have been their best performance out of all those games against the big teams,
yeah.
and they come away with a 1-0 loss. It just didn't quite bounce their way on the chances. Even think about something like the Martinelli chance in the first half, where
Hmm.
it's like he gets it around Martinez, but like it gets cleared. Like if he just has a better finish, it's you know
Yeah.
1-1.
Yeah. And Odegaard had a big chance too.
Eddie just uh drilled wide. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it
I'm
happens.
not worried. And not to mention Villa are
V-
insane. Is
Yeah,
it
they're a
16
great
at
team.
home?
15.
16 in a row? 15 in a row at home.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, no reason to be too sad or upset about that loss. I mean, they've obviously beat City and Tottenham just recently as well. So,
There's
tough place to
there's
go.
there's nothing to be sad about when you're me and you tell Sam that Everton's the club of the future, and he doesn't listen. And he just doesn't listen.
They are popping off.
They are the club. I saw this one tweet that was like the Premier League is like, these are the hottest teams. Look at Bournemouth are officially the hottest team. And they didn't have Everton in there. And it was like 5 games played, and Everton, I looked it up because they have 12 points in 5 games, and that would have put them as like the second hottest team. I'm like, why are they not in there?
They factored in the 10-point deduction. They're like, all right, 2 points.
Yeah, but that doesn't even make sense. Like, that's not part of their 5-game form. Like, why did that is just terrible. They're hot. They are on fuego, and they're going against Chelsea, who they just stink, especially on the road.
Definitely not the club of the future.
No, potentially club of the past.
Yes.
They're on that brink. And now we're getting rumors about certain guys might be leaving who just came into the project, which is hilarious.
Need more transfers, bro.
What I think I blocked this game out of my memory. I mean, Chelsea looked fine early at times, but I mean, would they have like 2 half decent chances? And it was like one was a 25-yard rip from Cole Palmer.
Yeah, Enzo had
Like,
one like right off the bat, and then it was kind of a bit more Everton. They looked pretty good to start the game.
yeah, Jack
Chelsea,
Harrison had that really good chance, just a blast, big save by Sanchez.
Yeah, Chelsea just looked like they had like no cohesion.
Well, that's what happens when you bring in a whole new team and they don't play together, even though you had a whole summer with the team. We were talking about this, and I thought it was kind of interesting off the pod. Is Bobby Sanchez Chelsea's like most successful transfer under the Todd Bowley era? Even potentially like even like the last year of the Roman era? Like, given what the expectations were? I feel like everyone else has been at least somewhat of a disappointment, no?
Yeah, probably.
Bobby Sanchez is actually playing like a top 5 goalie this year because he's cut out his Bobby Sanchez. Well, he hasn't cut out the mistakes. They just haven't led to goals like they were when he was at Brighton. Reece James forced off with an injury. We talked about it last week where it's like he's in his Bay Area stage. Now everyone's like, oh, it might actually be the case. It's like, yeah.
He's
we're not far ahead of the curve, Sam, but we're a little ahead of, what people do, what people think. Yeah, I mean, he's going to have surgery on it now, which I don't really know how like soft tissue stuff you have surgery on, but
just tie it back together.
Apparently. Ashley Young, who somehow could not get cooked by Mudryk. Mudryk kind of torched him once or twice, but it resulted in nothing, and they subbed on Nathan Patterson, and Everton immediately looked better.
Yes. Blessing in disguise for Everton.
Yeah. Halftime 0-0. Second half. Little counterattack. Broya, who looked like absolute trash, losing possession. Little Dwight McNeil running forward. He's cooking. Plays in Calvert-Lewin, whose shot was stopped by Sanchez. Rebounded right to Doucouré, who, I mean, what can you say, Sam? Doucouré and McTom are such odd guys because it's like the idea that you're supposed to be not necessarily a 6, but like an 8 that's a little more defensive minded is kind of what we're always thought of them as. But now they just come out and they score goals. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. I mean, this is, a team like Everton is perfect for a guy like him. As opposed to United, it's like you don't necessarily want a guy like that when you're United, because that means the rest of your attack is kind of
predicated on like him and what he does, because certain guys could be pulled out of position, and then if they hit a counter, you're screwed.
Yeah, but you know what? I really like what Everton got going on. Dwight McNeil, Jack Harrison on the wings.
Yeah, you know what was really good this game was Mikolenko. Actually looked really nice.
Yeah.
Probably one of his better Premier League performances, to say the least. Uh, Bobby Sanchez goes off hurt. That could be huge, and that might be the one signing that Chelsea actually like have to do something to at least bring in like one other keeper. That might be their only reasonable like we have to sign somebody. It's like, okay, yeah, you don't have enough goalies, that's fine. But uh Everton end up sealing it with a goal off the corner. Um it deflects out to Dobbin and he hits a rip. Everton, too hot. They're up to 17th place on 13th points. If they didn't have their deduction, they would be sitting in 10th place. How about that, Sam?
They're cooking. They are cooking.
They absolutely are.
I wish Chelsea would switch Gallagher and Enzo Fernandez. I think you mentioned this.
It doesn't even make sense. Enzo's clearly like an 8 that's a connector, and Gallagher should just be running around forward. Now there's talks they might actually sell Gallagher and buy Paulinho, and it's like, well then you're just gonna have Enzo be the 10? I don't know. This whole thing is very, very confusing to me. And this whole thing about Pochettino should be blamed for a good chunk of this. But the whole idea of like they can't break down low blocks, and I knew it, and this is why it's an issue. It's like, how about you score in the first 30 fucking minutes? Like whenever Chelsea do that, they at least have a chance. Like these teams don't come out, Sam. And it's not like Arsenal where bad teams like are immediately packing like 8 or 9 guys in the box. Like teams play pretty open against Chelsea, no?
Yeah, I
To
think so.
start the game, it's once they score, it's like, yeah, then people are gonna sit back. That's the nature of the game. But maybe try to score first. I don't know. And it's not like they don't have these chances where they have odd man rush kind of situations on the counter.
Yeah.
Apparently, Nkuku's gonna play this weekend. He'll probably re-injure his hammy because that's how Chelsea do things. Bring guys back too soon. But we shall see. Sterling on the bench in this one. Jackson on the bench. They actually sat Thiago Silva, who's not going to be renewed for a contract this summer.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
And if you want to see, before we move on, but Chelsea's like, just they don't know what they're doing. They're apparently going to sell Ian Maatson now after they turned down a 28 million pound bid from Burnley in the summer for him. We got to see what we have in him. You don't play him. Yeah, we're going to sell him. Okay. Good meal. Good meal, Chelsea. What can you say?
Yeah, I was surprised Sterling didn't come on at halftime. Just
Do
given
something
how bad Chelsea looked in the
in
first
attack
half,
specifically.
and it's just as weird. Like you have guys that
I feel like Palmer is better as just a false 9. Like they should just roll with that and not have Broya.
yeah
Or
he's
Jackson out there.
he's always trying to push more centrally, and then you just have like 3 guys standing in the same position. You need some guys who create some width, like some true wingers actually.
Ukraine Bolt.
Ukraine Bolt. He didn't have it this game.
He gets the ball like 3 times a game, and he sprints into like a guy for 2 of them, and then the one time he actually gets to the end line and has a nice cutback, and something goes wrong. This game it fell to Enzo Fernandez, who couldn't get a shot. Let me tell you about getting shots, Sam. Fulham were getting shots.
They keep getting shots, lots of shots.
We should have just really bought in once Tom Kearney and Iwobi got to play,
yeah.
and Harry Reid got to play. Like we should have said that we bought in, but it kind of came out of nowhere when Silva was just like, "Oh, these guys are gonna play now." It's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay."
This one too, I heard after the game. Sounded like there was some illness going around the West Ham squad.
I have illness when watching West Ham and Aguirre is out there because he's stinky poo poo and
He's looking rough,
probably
man.
should. I think he's like talent is still there because we've seen it at times. I
Yeah.
think he's like ultimate low confidence.
Yeah.
Like it's just he might need like a loan and he could come back and be okay or something. But I don't know if they have to fully sell him, but they gotta loan him out or something. Something's got to change.
Yeah, a lot of mistakes. A lot of
Also, West
mistakes.
Ham's bench is really funny. Whenever they show it, it's like Maxwell Cornet, Danny Ings, Ben Rama, uh, Ogbonna, Carhair, Emerson in this one. Like, I don't know. It's just like an assortment of guys where it's like, it feels like they left West Ham,
Yeah.
but you associate them with West Ham, but yet they're still on West Ham. It's a very weird team.
It's like the island of misfit toys.
Yeah. It's like, what is this guy? Yeah, I mean, starting off, Fulham had some early chances, Sam.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, and it felt like, this doesn't look too good for West Ham. Although, I mean, I guess West Ham even had a chance on the Ward-Prowse free kick, but it didn't really do a ton for them.
Yeah, West
But
Ham,
Fulham,
they just looked slow. I mean, they were getting beat easily in midfield.
yeah, sometimes West Ham's midfield is like really just not good at all. And I think Fornals in there this game was kind of a what, and it didn't really work.
Yeah.
Sushek didn't have the best of games either, but it wasn't, you can't expect him to play lights out like he kind of has been this year for a good chunk of the season. So
Mhm.
just a totally off game. I'm still on the Lucas Paqueta should sit probably like 3 games.
I don't like him.
I'm fine. I'm fine with him just sitting right now. I think he has talent there. I think that he just has to take a break because it's not going right now.
Yeah,
It's just not
I don't care for him
clicking.
at all.
Well, he almost went to Man City, so he could be on Man City right now instead of Matthias Nunes, and he could be wasting away on that team. So
Exactly.
just think about that.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, let's get into the goals here. 22nd minute. Fulham get the first one. Polina putting a great ball in for Raul Jimenez. Scores with a nice header.
He's making us look bad now at this point.
Yeah, he is. He really is. 9 minutes later, Willian adds a second. Iwobi's initial shot. His save falls to Pereira, whose cross deflects off Iwobi, and then falls to Willian at the back post.
Yeah, the classic, like, he kind of flicked it through, but also he's trying to get out of the way, but it could have even been like a shot. It was very weird. Iwobi just like, he couldn't recreate that if he did it like 100 times, but it goes right to Willian, and he slots it.
Yeah. And then before halftime, 40 minutes in, Tosin rising up
Young
from a
Tosin.
corner, free header, deflected on by Sufal, but I don't think that really made that much of a difference. It was a pretty good
No,
header
it
by
didn't.
Tosin.
No, it did not.
Yeah, goes in halftime 3-0. West Ham at this point fully cooked.
Yeah. Let me
Fulham-
tell you about fully cooking. Harry Wilson coming on at halftime gets a goal in the 60th minute, gets an assist in the 89th minute.
Yeah.
Could easily had 2 goals, but that goal by Harry Wilson, the 60th minute. I mean,
That was the icing on the cake.
have a fucking pint of that. What a beauty. Just blasted. Fabianski, nothing you can do, lad.
Yeah. And that goal in the 89th minute, like you were saying, Harrison Reed just pinging a ball forward up to
Yeah,
Wilson.
I don't remember who was out of line on that one, if it was Zuma was off by then. Maybe it was Ogbonna. Ogbonna was just like in like the worst possible spot, and it got dinked over his head to Wilson, and then
Yeah.
Wilson just lays it off to Vinicius.
Yeah, very easy. Very easy goal there for the number 5 Fulham, once again scoring 5 goals. Big 5-0 victory for them. West Ham will want to forget that one.
Yeah, that was one to move on if you're West Ham. West Ham sometimes are just like just look so bad. When they don't look good, they just look like really, really bad. It's like, oh my gosh. Makes you question them, and then they turn out like 3 or 4 games later, and it's fine. But
Yeah.
Fulham are fully cooking. Harry Wilson. There's a world in which Harry Wilson could get a move to a bigger club a little later on.
Yeah, I think he
Maybe
deserves to start.
Liverpool buy him back. Comes kind of like a once in a while player for them or something. Who knows?
Chelsea.
Chelsea. I could see it. No, they buy bad players who are unproven.
It's true.
They don't buy a young Harry Wilson who's popping off.
That's true. All right, moving on to the Ken. Luton versus Man City. The £1 million team versus the £1 billion team.
The 1,000-pound team versus the trillion-pound team,
£1
more
team.
like it.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, this one, City with some early chances. Foden early on. I thought Luton had a decent press going on for a bit there, but then
Yeah, they looked fine. I mean, they'd
Man
still
City
lose
kinda
the
laid
ball
it
and
on.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'd still lose the ball, and they couldn't really, hang in there with City when City had possession and stuff. But
Yeah, I mean,
for
definitely
what it is,
you could see the difference Rodri brings to this lineup. He just, made things tick out there.
yeah. I mean, Rodri still, even though he missed so much time and he's been kind of coming off the bench as a sub for the last game or two, it's like, I mean, he should still be up for Player of the Year for how much he matters to this City team. In my opinion, I don't think it's really close.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Uh, it's got to be said, when Luton scored, it was Ross Barkley cooking up to Townsend.
Senior.
Yes, Townsend Senior. I mean, what else is there to say? That's the connection.
That's the
Adebayo
connection.
ends up heading it in, but how about that?
Ross Barkley, man, Chelsea should sign this guy.
They could use them.
Bring him back. The return tour. He's been great, honestly.
100%.
Yeah, Townsend puts across the back post for Adebayo, rising up very nicely. Score the unexpected goal. Take the lead into halftime. Second half, Man City laying on the pressure. Ruben Diaz hitting the bar from close range. And then finally, they get the equalizer. 62 minutes in. Rodri glides with Lockyer and the ball falls to Bernardo Silva. Throws one past Mr. Kaminsky. And only a couple minutes later, City capitalize on a mistake from Bell. And Grealish marks his return with a goal. After that, only thing of note I really had was Jacob Brown probably should have been sent off. Another tackle, kind
Yeah,
of similar to the
that was-
Onyeka one, where they somehow decide that's not a red card. He like jumped into, I forget who it was. But yeah, it wasn't good. That one
Yeah, it was-
finishes 2-1. City
Yeah,
get the win.
I'm still on the this is not the same Man City side. I don't care. Having to squeak one out against Luton is not very convincing to me.
That's true. Can't be denied.
I mean, it took a, weird, almost handball situation, kind of amazing play by Alvarez in transition to get that second goal. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. We will see. But with Rodri in there, it's definitely a much better team, like you said.
Yeah.
Speaking of
for
much
sure.
better team, Newcastle, much better team at home than on the road. And I'm thinking they might be, home merchants, perhaps.
Well, I mean, I also have to consider that
The
they're
injuries,
the
but
injuries, of course, they're getting that Champions League welcome. They finished fourth in their group, last in the group, and what do they
first
have to show
time
is a bunch of
two
injuries.
first time two English teams have ever finished bottom of their group. Shame, shame on these teams.
Yeah.
Newcastle and well, Newcastle significantly less because it's a tough group that could have gone either way. But Man U in a group with Copenhagen and
Galatasaray.
Galatasaray finishing bottom of the group. Shame,
Shame.
shame. Uh, Also,
Bad call.
Dubravka in this game, just like, why is he not slicking his hair back? What is he thinking?
That's exactly what he was missing, man. Gives him
Yeah,
his power.
yeah, 100%, 100%. So this one, Tottenham, they were just cooking right off the bat, Sam.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, but I got, Newcastle did have a pretty good chance. Um, who was it? Isak almost had it happen.
Yeah, almost a great saving deflection from Ben Davis.
Ben Davis might be their best center back. And I think it's a discussion that should be had.
Yeah, Newcastle definitely had some chances despite, Spurs dominating possession. Obviously, Spurs a lot more chances, but Newcastle could have made it a different game if they put away their chances that they did have.
Yeah. It's not talked about enough how much it matters to score first, but, what can you do? They do get a goal from your boy Udogie.
Oh, doggy.
Udogie! Him and Son kind of linking up.
Hmm.
Nice passing sequence. Son getting behind the defense. Little square ball on the ground. Udogie near post. Rips it. Make it 1-0.
Yeah, really nicely worked. Tottenham just kind of giving Newcastle some trouble in the midfield, bringing the extra guy from, Udogie pushing up into that midfield, and then Kulishevsky kind of rocking into the 10 position. Newcastle could not handle that whatsoever.
No.
They
No, they
made
couldn't.
it 2-0 in the 38th minute. This time, also Son getting the assist, gets the better of Trippier, finds Richarlison, who acts like he just won the World Cup when he scores from close range.
Well, I mean, he virtually did.
He
So,
virtually did. Give him the
I
credit.
don't know. I don't know what you want to say.
More chances after that from Spurs. Goes into halftime, 2-0. Second half, Spurs at a third. Pedro Porro just kind of floating a ball up to Richarlison. Then Dubravka out in no man's land. Richarlison finishes off for the brace. Tottenham get a penalty late on after Son gets in behind. Dubravka bringing him down. Son converts the penalty to make it 4-0. Newcastle get a late consolation goal from Joel Linton after a bad giveaway from Højbjerg in his own.
Yeah, that play by Højbjerg was absolute insanity.
Man didn't know where he was.
Man was tipping over. Mans didn't know what sport he was playing.
Truly.
Yeah, I mean, good result for Tottenham. Good performance by Tottenham. You'd like to get the clean sheet, but what can you do? When your player just literally tips over for no reason. Newcastle, Eddie Howe, he's got his work cut out for him, but now,
Yeah.
hey, they don't have to focus on Europe at all.
It was a good bounce back for Tottenham, but also probably the best time to face Newcastle.
Yes, absolutely. All right, are we going on to next week?
Yes, into it.
Perfect. We got a Friday game.
Right, the same team we were just talking about, Tottenham Hotspur, going to the City Ground.
Yeah, I mean, this will be tough. I don't think it'll be as easy for Tottenham as we would think, but also Forest have been struggling mightily. I do like the way Tottenham's midfield is still playing as of right now. We shall see how this goes. Uh, I'm definitely leaning Tottenham. I'll go Tottenham 3-1.
Yeah, I feel like Tottenham will kind of just do that same thing, dominate possession. Still probably give up a chance or two on the counter to Forest. But I think they'll take it 2-0.
That sounds like a good one. Bournemouth Luton. At the
Yeah,
Vitality, Bournemouth are rolling.
they're
Luton,
rolling.
they can fight with anyone. They'll scrap with anyone. What does this game speak to you, Sam? What is this game? How does it move you? How does it make you feel?
Well, I think hard not to pick Bournemouth, especially at home against Luton. We'll see. We'll see if Luton can put up a good test, maybe a better test than Manchester United. I
I
think
could
it'll
see it.
be. I think it'll be 3-1 Bournemouth.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 3-0 Bournemouth, and I'm gonna go with a Semenyo hat trick.
Oh, the
Yeah,
prediction. The prediction.
yeah. What do you think about that?
All right, next one. Charity FC, Chelsea versus Sheffield United.
How did Chelsea win this game, Sam? I don't. I just don't really see it.
They just realized that Sheffield is not a good team, and they just win.
I just don't. I don't see it. Chelsea is just not. They're not to be picked for a little bit. They have to prove some stuff to me against these bad teams. I'm gonna go Sheffield 2-1.
See, if this was me, and I was doing this to Arsenal, saying they were going to get beat by Sheffield United, you'd be like, "You're just saying that anti-jinx,
Sam,
anti-jinx, anti-jinx." So I
Sam,
have to say it back.
Sam, Chelsea
Chelsea
are 12th
win.
place.
Chelsea
They're
win
12th
2-0.
place.
Chelsea
They're
win 2.
12th place. They
They're
can't
in
be
12,
trusted.
but they're not in line.
I will wager on this. You talk about the next matchup, Man City's game, and I'm gonna look up the odds for the Chelsea game.
Man City versus Crystal Palace, the next one. This one, we were
There's
talking
not
about
much to
Roy
talk about with that one.
Hodgson.
There's not much to talk about with that one.
We were talking
Save it
about
for a
Roy
bad one.
Hodgson, talking about how maybe they should just forfeit this game because they don't have any players and he doesn't want to play youth players.
I know it was a meme, but that was a great meme. The idea of a manager coming out like talking about forfeiting
Oh,
the
was that
game.
fake? Did
Yeah,
I
it was
fall?
fake.
I
No,
fell for fake news.
yeah, but it's so funny
fell
that
for
it seems
fake news.
realistic. It seems
I'm
like
part of
something
the
he would say.
problem. It does seem like something he would say.
Tottenham's minus 145 tomorrow. Oof. Why are there no odds on the Chelsea game?
Because they
The
know you're
action's
going
too
to bet the
heavy.
house.
The action's too heavy on this. I'm gonna have to look this up.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I mean,
Man
there's not much
City.
to say. City, another get right game for City, but Palace, you know, for whatever reason, they've kind of been the stickler club for City, but
Yeah, that is true.
you know, I just can't see it. I'm gonna go City 2-0.
I was going to say 2-0 as well. Newcastle versus Fulham.
Sheffield's plus 1,300. Sam, there's
All right,
plus
put it down.
1,300.
Put your
Plus
money where you out.
1,300.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Oh, I will. Maybe a
Cool
maybe
tenor.
a maybe a Fulham plus 320. No, you can't. Fulham won't beat Newcastle there. Maybe a Bournemouth Sheffield parlay. What are we doing? Newcastle Fulham right now?
Yeah. Will Fulham score 5 goals at St. James Park?
No, but it can't be ruled out. I like the way Fulham are playing right now, but Newcastle at home is just a different animal for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Fulham's defense doesn't. I don't know. It still doesn't feel that super trustworthy. It's their attack and midfield that's clicking right now, not necessarily the defense. So I'm gonna go Newcastle 2-1.
Yeah, I think Newcastle will bounce back. I think it'll be a close one. I think 1-0.
Okay. Burnley Everton. I can't believe Everton's favored to beat Burnley at Turf Moor. And the only reason I
Really?
say that is I feel like, I mean, me personally, I feel like Everton are going to win this, like, convincingly. I just feel like, the public might have a little more faith in Burnley, but apparently
I
not.
don't know.
Not anymore.
I think you're a little disillusioned in that.
Maybe I just am trying to speak better odds into existence for Everton. But
Yeah.
Everton at plus 115 is pretty solid. I feel good about that.
Yeah, the Shandash Derby.
Maybe an Everton Sheffield parlay.
All right. I think Everton will win that one probably 3-0.
3-0. Ooh, I don't know about that. I think it'll be a little closer than that. I'm thinking more like 2-1 or 1-0. We'll combine them and go Everton 2-0. Arsenal Brighton Sunday at the Emirates.
Now, is this where Brighton actually pieced it together and put in a good performance for
You know
once?
what? You know what's funny? I actually had that feeling in my gut because Arsenal's kind of slip up team has always been Brighton for whatever
Oh yeah.
reason.
Oh yeah.
Makes no sense. Uh it's just so hard to predict it because I don't know what the Derby's gonna do. It's like the Derby felt compelled to take over for Hasenhüttl and just like put a random lineup together. He's like, yeah, I spun the wheel and this is what we got. We
Yeah.
got Buonanotte up top. It's like, what? Where's Evan Ferguson? Is he hurt? No, he's just on the bench. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got Matoma on the bench. Okay, sounds good.
Oh, we didn't even have a Europa League game this week, but that's all right. I don't feel you're right. It definitely feels like a slip up game for Arsenal, but I'm gonna go with 2-1 Arsenal. I'm thinking a Jorginho penalty. He gets subbed on in the 90th minute like a pinch hitter to take the penalty.
Yeah. I'm gonna say 2-2.
That's fair. Brentford Villa. Villa on the road at Brentford. Brentford kind of looking stinky, but this could be one. Villa sometimes, when they're on the road and they're playing out of the back, sometimes it just does not go well for them.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh man,
I just think the current situation of Brentford
too much to overcome.
too much. Villa are deep. Maybe Brentford get to halftime 0-0, but I think the second half will, Villa can bring on 5 good subs. Brentford definitely can't. So I'm gonna say 2-0.
Okay, I'm gonna go 1-0 Villa. Wolves West Ham. What are you watching for in this one?
Yeah, I feel like West Ham they've got to play better than they did against Fulham. I mean, if everyone was sick,
I would hope so,
I guess we'll
for their
see.
sake.
Maybe they're still sick. I don't know. Wolves, we'll see once what they can do. West Ham will probably sit back, so that doesn't really suit Wolves' play style. They want to run in transition and whatnot. So I think it'll be probably pretty tight, maybe a 1-1.
Oh my gosh, you read my mind. I am also going with a 1-1 draw, Sam.
Great minds cook alike.
Yes. And then to round off the week, we got Liverpool and Man U.
Yeah. Interesting game. Liverpool, not all that convincing in their last game. Obviously, United, not convincing whatsoever. But you've got to give the advantage to Liverpool, obviously, sitting in first place.
I mean, you never know at the Derby games, but
Yeah.
last year was 7-0. I feel real good about Liverpool. I will go with a 3-0 thrashing, and Ten Hag is officially in a game by game mode, to say
Yeah.
the least.
I think I'm gonna say it'll be closer than you expect.
Okay. I mean,
think
that's what
it'll be a
happens with these
1-0.
games. United, like they didn't, like Chelsea looked terrible in the game they played, but that you could tell the United players were up for it.
Yeah.
So I would expect that that'd be the case for the Liverpool game, that they'll be up for it and they've been playing better than they would against, say, obviously they played like shit against Bournemouth, but what's another team they played recently where they didn't look so good? I can't even think
What you have
right
to go
now.
so far back because they were
Newcastle,
just on a tear.
obviously. Yeah, right. Newcastle.
Manager of the month, player of the month.
Yes. So, yeah, 3-0 feels good. I still trust Liverpool the most with the title stuff. So, yeah. Any prediction from you for this week?
I'm gonna say that James Ward-Prowse scores from a free kick to equalize David Beckham's record.
Wow. How about that?
There you go.
I love it. All right. Well, until next time, adios, mis amigos. Keep on perusing.
Bye.